What's up, YouTube? Bill and Duke here. We are out here in the California hills cooking it up for you guys today. We have a balsamic marinated culotte, which is a top piece of the whole sirloin cut. One of my favorite cuts there is on the cow. Some Yukon Gold potatoes, a little bit of herb chimichurri, roasted garlic, Brussels sprouts, some peppernade, which is red onions and bell peppers that we're gonna roast and prepare this meal all over the fire for you guys here today. This is the area that we're working in. It's really beautiful. Right where Duke is, we're gonna put a little fireplace right here. Gorgeous day. Thanks for joining us, you guys. We're gonna get building this fireplace. Hopefully Duke's gonna help us. And yeah, stick around. What's up, guys? Me and Duke are heading up. Cook site. Getting closer. It's really pretty out here today. All right. Keep pushing, Duke. Okay guys, I got that fire started finally. We're rocking. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna set up all my food preparation in my areas I'm gonna be cooking. It's called mise en place in the culinary world, which just basically means everything in place. So when you go to cook, you have everything readily available. You're not reaching for anything or running for anything like that. It just helps the flow of cooking go a lot smoother. So I'm gonna start setting everything up. I'll show you guys how I do that. And we're gonna just let this fire here burn down, get ourselves a nice bed of coal, continue to feed it more wood, and keep pushing the coals into these cooking areas that I've got right here. Let me show you that. So I got a cooking area here, a cooking area there, and the other cooking area is behind the fire here. Okay guys, I'm gonna get set up here. Alright guys, so I got everything set up right now. I'm gonna go through and kind of talk to you a little bit about what I use. Obviously I use a lot more than anybody that would go out and camp and cook. I'm gonna start over here. These bowls are absolutely priceless to have. This is just our little pantry. Salt and pepper, always have salt and pepper. Vegetable oil. This is sriracha, what we're gonna be using today. Rice vinegar, some good tongs, a towel, because you're gonna be moving hot metal things around. You don't want to burn yourself. Just a little cutting board here, chef's knife, sharpening steel because I can't do without. A little paring knife because we got a little cleaning up of Brussels sprouts we're gonna do. Aluminum foil, which is like gold. Latex gloves, a little cooler. I brought all this up in my backpack and this is pretty crazy. It's got some ice packs in it. And then the beef that we're gonna be grilling, and then a little chimichurri sauce. Everything from scratch up here. We're not, except for the marinating and the chimichurri, we're gonna do everything up here. We just got some Yukon Gold potatoes, some bell peppers, onion, some Brussels sprouts, Zach Fowler survival shovel, which is the best thing ever. With my cooking tools out here. This is my basket, which I've shown before, which is, I'm not being paid for any, wow, that's pretty hot. I'm not being paid for any of the, any advertisements or anything like that. This is just stuff that I find that is super useful out in the wilderness. This is another thing that you probably have seen before. You see them in the grill section and whatnot, but I find them really versatile to use on open fire cooking. A lot of applications with these guys. I'll show you what we're gonna cook the Brussels sprouts in this guy. I'll show you how we're gonna do it. And then this, which is kind of just a dirty, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. Grill that we're gonna just use for cooking the beef. The coals look like they're getting close here. Things have been burning for a while now. We're gonna wait for this side to get kind of down a little bit more, but you can kind of see what we got going here, kind of like a peace sign or like an arrowhead. All right, one thing I want to get going right off the bat is that's going to take the longest time to cook is going to be this red onion. So all I'm going to do is just throw the thing whole right in here, kind of create a little bit of pocket so you don't rip or lose any of your oil and salt and pepper. You're just gonna throw a little bit of oil over it. Seasoning. You layer your cooking as far as every time you cook something, you wanna season that individual item. So when you put your dish together at the end, everything is properly seasoned. It's got seasoned. Just gonna take, and we're gonna wrap that guy up like this. And we're just gonna throw that in like the fire, right in the fire, just like this. We're gonna just turn that every so often and roast it that way. It should take about 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll check it out and see if it's done at that point. Right now, what we're gonna do, or what I'm gonna do, Nick's not gonna help me. I'm gonna prep up these Brussels sprouts. All you're gonna do is just take off that end piece right there. Can get really woody, and you don't really want that. So what we just do, just take that off. I'm gonna prep all these. I'll get back with you guys when we do potatoes. All right, we got these Brussels sprouts all prepped up. We need to toss them with oil, salt, and pepper. All right, so what we're gonna do is gonna do a little bit of oil, whatever oil you prefer. Salt. Duke found a stick up there. You see him. A little pepper. That's his play sound. Sounds pretty sad. You give these a toss. Hey, buddy. Some Brussels sprouts. Completely coated in seasoning and oil. So now we got these seasoned. I'm gonna go in this guy. Right here. Like so. We're gonna cut just a small piece of foil here. Like that. This is gonna rest on there, trying to capture as much kind of steam. You wanna capture that heat so we can kind of steam these just a little bit also, but capturing some of that smoke and that wood fire as well. And now that's ready for the fire. You can see we've kind of got some coals built up in each of the corners. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna throw this, use this log, lift this up a little bit. And so we're gonna just constantly be turning this, flipping it too when I'm gonna be tossing those Brussels sprouts. We'll take this off and toss it so we don't get burned bottoms or anything like that. But right now we're just gonna kind of low and slow. You can see that the fire is off a little bit to the side. We got our onion directly below us. We're gonna go right there. And Duke and I are gonna go grab some more firewood for this bad boy. All right, we got some new firewood on the fire, stoked for our next set of coals that we got coming. I've tossed these Brussels sprouts once, but I just want to show you kind of what we got in the progress of these. So when I pull these off, you can kind of see there's a bit of a color change, turned to a lighter green. You can see some caramelization happening here. I'm gonna pick this up and just kind of try and give it a nice little toss without losing any of our guys. Little burnt ones in there. That's a little too much for me. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna put it back on there. Here, let's turn our onion. There. It's roasting away. We're gonna put our Brussels sprouts back on the fire. Cover it up with this foil. Continue to steam and cook. Okay, so for the bell pepper, what we're gonna do is we're gonna roast these on the fire, and then we're gonna peel and seed them. We're gonna slice some julienne, and then we're gonna add a little bit of sriracha, rice vinegar, salt, and pepper. And it makes this really nice, spicy, kind of sour, sweet topping that goes really, really, really nicely with steak. So we're just gonna throw these I got flames. It's okay if the flames are licking these bell peppers. We're just charring the skin. So we're gonna throw those on there. We'll turn them every couple minutes or so until we get them completely black. We're gonna stick them in a bowl, throw a piece of foil over the top, and we're gonna steam them for just a second. It helps that skin slough off and makes it able for us to peel those off. All right, let's do some potatoes. All right, so one thing you wanna do, even in the wild, is you wanna wash your potatoes always. They came from the dirt. You don't wanna be eating some of the things that live in that dirt. And we're gonna be using this wild water, but even though there could be potentially harmful things in this water, we're gonna be cooking these potatoes, so I think we should be safe. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. All right, that should be good. All right, let's go back and prep these up. Okay, so we got some medium-sized Yukon Gold potatoes here. These are generally kind of the size that you're gonna find at the grocery store. If you have those little shoots growing off them, just take the back of your knife and kind of just knock them out a little bit. They're not gonna hurt you. I'll show you another one here. You just take the back of your knife just like that. Okay, and to cut these guys, we're just gonna quarter them. Like so. Throw them in our bowl. If they're a little bit bigger like this, hit them twice. Main thing is you want to just try and keep the size uniform, so you have everything kind of cooking at the same speed, and you don't have something that you cut small. It's overcooking by the time the large piece is cooked. We're gonna do a little oil, salt. They're potatoes, so you can go a little heavy, huh? Pepper. Okay, once you follow me, guys, we're gonna go turn these bell peppers real quick. Okay, we got our bell peppers over here. They're coming along. Just gonna give them a turn. And see, that's what we're looking for right there. You know, nice and charred. Let that guy kind of just let him go a little more. And he's okay too. All right, we got our potatoes. A little carefully toss. It's a precarious little bowl to be doing this in. Okay, we're good there. Open up this bad boy. So, and we're just gonna kind of, I'm gonna just dump these in a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Set it down. Space them out nice, best you can. We kind of got this thing pretty full to the brim here. Basically, I'm just making sure that nothing's right on top of the other. That each has got its own individual space. Even though these are packed in, there's nothing really on top of each other. Okay, and we're just gonna take this thing, slides back. So he doesn't want, we got a jumper. Okay. Slide the little ring here back and forward, and we're good to go. All right, let's get these on the fire. Got a spot over here. Just got to keep an eye on that flame. It's getting pretty crazy. See it licking around the corner there. We'll just kind of watch these. Okay guys, pulled the steak out. It smells so crazy right now. Balsamic shallot. And that balsamic is going to help soften up and tenderize that meat. The acids in it act with the amino acids in beef and meats in general, and kind of help break it down and make it more tender. Oh. So we've got some salt, as you saw in the video, already in there, but not a lot. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna add some more salt. I think we should have enough pepper, but this is a large piece of meat, and so you want seasoning to be able to penetrate. And so, nice and salty on big pieces of beef. Kind of looks like it's already cooked with that balsamic color, but it is not. Okay, let's go to the grill. We're gonna start this fat side down. Kind of get the fat hot and rolling. We'll start releasing the fat, so when we flip it over, it'll kind of be basting as it cooks. The culotte is about the size of a good sized tri-tip, I would say. But boy, oh boy, is it a completely different cut of meat, and very different than tri-tip. Super, super tender. Okay, so we're just gonna throw this bad boy right on there. Okay, so I pulled that red onion out that we were roasting earlier. It's nice and soft. We're just gonna kind of clean this guy up a little bit. Julienne, want to get technical? I'm gonna save this because I want to use that container to just put the stuff that I got prepped. Okay, just take this guy like you're gonna cut a normal onion. I'm gonna take the top off. Yeah, look at that. Soft. I'm gonna peel off that one outside layer there. Super soft, and really hot. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut off this end right here. Like so. Same thing, that was good. And then I'm just gonna, ooh, that's warm. Thin strips. It is hot, hot, hot. We're going to put this back in here after we cut this. Then we can just seal that thing back up, set it next to the fire till we're ready with the other products that we're going to be using. Holy moly, that's hot. And this onion should be seasoned because we already put our salt and pepper on there. It's nicely well cooked. Let's just taste one of them. That's perfectly seasoned, perfectly cooked. I'm happy with that. So let's take it and we're gonna we're just gonna ball it back up like that. And just set it over here. And that's our little warm holder. Next I'm gonna peel these bell peppers and basically do the same thing. Okay, so we got our bell peppers finished here. You can see that they look charred and kind of gross if you don't know what charred bell peppers are supposed to look like, or peppers in general. But the skin should be sloughing off real nicely like this. So we're just basically, one thing, we're just gonna peel this off. And one thing you don't wanna do with bell peppers, or peppers in general that you fire roast, is you don't want to run this underwater. And some people would think, what, you know, you got all this charring on there, I'm going to rinse this under the water, but you're actually rinsing away a lot of the flavor. And you can see on this area right here, it didn't get quite hot enough, and so that skin's kind of sticking on there a little bit. But we're up here in the woods, and so I'm not going to be worrying about that too much. So we'll take that skin off just like that. Throw that in the fire. And I kind of I pinch the top a little bit, work my way around, grab the center bit of that seed. You don't want that. And then I kind of just grab it and give it a shake. A lot of times you can shake all that seed out of there. Take any of this membrane, that's too much membrane, you can pull that off if you want to. And then we're just going to do thin julienne strips. Like so. I'm going to do the other 3 like this, and then I'll get back with you guys. Okay, so we got all the roasted bell peppers prepped up, and julienne, julienne is that thin strip cut technique that we've got there. And then we're going to add these warm caramelized or roasted onions that we had. See the steam coming off? Look at that onions. Yeah. Now we're going to add those into our bell pepper, like so. Save this foil because it can be reused again. Okay, so for this, even though we have seasoning at the initial part of this, those bell peppers didn't get any seasoning. So we're gonna salt this. We're gonna hit it with just a little pepper. This is some rice vinegar. It's not coming out that well, is it? About, say, 2 tablespoons or so. Maybe a little more. 2.5 to 3 tablespoons, depending on how much you got there. A little bit of sriracha. This will add a little bit of spice to it. And sriracha is just a really good ingredient. And then we're going to mix this up. Got a lot of color going on and everything in there. It's going to look great on top of that steak. And it's going to add some seriously good flavor with that sweetness of those bell peppers and onions, and that spiciness and that slight sourness from that vinegar. Yum, yum. Okay, so that's it. So we're going to just we'll put these over here. Let them, how about right here? Let those kind of just stay warm. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the cooking process here. Brussels sprouts. Some of them got a little bit browned up, a little too caramelized. That's okay, we can just peel off those leaves. It's not a big deal. But Brussels sprouts are almost done. You just kind of feel them, those soft nut won't be hard. You don't want crunchy Brussels sprouts. That's not that good. But this little system here is working out well. Potatoes I just flipped. One thing that I did when I flip these, sometimes if you've got too much stuff in here, the ends will open up a little bit. So you just want to grab your tongs, clamp down, and then flip. But we're looking good there. Potatoes are almost done. Coming over here, we've got our beef. It's got nice browning, nice sear on it. It's feeling still pretty rare, so we're gonna keep going on that guy. Okay, so we've got bell peppers done. Brussels sprouts are almost there. I want to pull this beef. Beef is about a medium rare right now. So the thing with these roast beef, well, not roast beef, but beef in general and cooking meat in general, you always want to let it rest. And so for something this size, it's best to let it 20 plus minutes to let everything relax, because when you pull it off, it's still cooking and all that juice and stuff is flowing inside of there. And so you want everything to relax. So if we cut into this beef right now, juice is just going to pour out everywhere, and it's going to dry out. So you'll have everything else that you cut, it's just going to dry out, or your slices are just going to leak out, and it's not going to be nearly as moist and delicious. So you want to let it rest as long as you can without it going cold, obviously. But you want to let it rest so all those juices stay inside and the temperature balances back out. So we're going to take this foil that we saved from those onions and we're going to put it over the top so it doesn't get too cold. It slowly kind of rests down. The temperature of your beef is going to rise, or your meat in general is going to rise, even though you've taken it right off of whatever it is that you're cooking, the grill, the oven, or whatever. And so you want to pull it around 105 to 110 if you were looking for a medium rare. This is probably going to be about a medium or so, I can feel. But yeah, we're going to just let this hang out and then I'll carve it up in a sec. All right guys, potatoes are done. Here's that chimichurri. We're going to add the chimichurri right here to the potatoes. I don't think I'm going to need all of it. That's probably enough. And we're just going to mix. Okay, and let's taste one. Hot. Crispy on the outside, perfectly seasoned. The chimichurri gives it this light freshness and a little bit of lemon in there. Really works. You wouldn't think that lemon and potato works, but it really, really works well. Okay, so this is done. We're gonna slice the beef next, and we're gonna start plating. All right, guys, beef is done. It's rested well. Let's slice it up. Now remember, when you're cutting any kind of meat, you want to always go against the grain. Against the grain. And here's a really good example right here. You see, it looks like grain on wood. So you definitely want to go this way. See, the grain's going this way. You cut this way. If you go with the grain on any kind of beef, that's when you run into chewing issues. You start chewing, it's like comes beef bubble gum, because you're chewing along these fibrous muscle strands here. So we want to cut thin pieces so it makes it a lot easier to chew, and it's a lot more tender and enjoyable. See how we did here. Oh yeah, it's about medium, what I thought it was going to be. Not bad for this. All right, should we give it a taste? I like to taste the end a little bit here. We'll just try a little bit. Oh my goodness. That balsamic, the shallot, delicious. Okay, let's start plating this up. Okay, everything's done cooking, guys. Let's start plating this thing up. First thing we're gonna do, plate these potatoes. Brussels sprouts. Oh yeah. That beef. Peppernade on the top. Bam. And that's ready to eat, guys. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining Duke and I on this adventure and having us cook you this dish today. Always remember when you're in the wild to salt and pepper your food, and join us next time on Chef in the Wild. Hey, Dick, you gonna help me with these potatoes? So boring filming.